The mounting call for a teacher strike, positive signs out of North Korea, and how Norman eliminated veteran homelessness. This is OU Nightly. Thanks for watching OU Nightly. I'm Storme Jones.
And I'm Lauren Linville. Pressure has been building at the Oklahoma State Capitol after 2 special sessions and more rumors of a teacher strike. Today in West Virginia, after nearly 2 weeks of vacant schools and protesting teachers, the state legislature gave in and has agreed to give teachers a 5% pay raise.
The success of teacher strikes in West Virginia, coupled with the inability of Oklahoma lawmakers to pass a teacher pay raise in recent years, has pushed Oklahoma teachers to the edge. The result, an impending shutdown of our own. A representative from the Oklahoma Education Association says while talks for walkout are heating up, the idea has been brewing long before strikes in West Virginia began.
We're just trying to get to the right plan, if you will, that will get enough votes to get it passed. That's what we're missing so far. You'll see with 1054 back in November of last year and with Step Up this year. Those big plans have to have a lot of pieces in them to get enough votes to go in, and that's what we're not having.
2 school boards have even come out in support of walkout measures. At meetings last night, both the Oklahoma City and Tulsa school boards passed resolutions supporting the idea.
Be it resolved that the Oklahoma City Public Schools Board of Education is in full support of our teachers and stands ready to take any steps necessary to improve conditions for our teachers, including a district-wide suspension of classes.
After the meeting, Oklahoma City Public Schools tweeted, "Our Board of Education is proud to stand with Tulsa schools and other districts across the state to support the voices of all Oklahoma teachers." And
one survey shows that nearly 80% of Oklahoma teachers support a walkout.
The same survey by the Oklahoma Education Association found 76% of parents also support it. It's expected the OEA on Thursday will lay out more details for a statewide school shutdown.
And change could be coming to Oklahoma's jail cells. Capitol reporter Will Cornelius is here with more on the potential changes. Will.
That's right, Storm. Governor Fallin says that she has reached a deal with the legislature and state prosecutors on a package of bills to reduce Oklahoma's growing prison populations. Now, of the 6 bills proposed, only 5 of them were brought to the legislature last year, but they did not advance through the House and Senate. Now, the reforms will focus on nonviolent criminals, many of who suffer from mental issues and addiction, according to Governor Fallin. The bill also aims to streamline aging medical parole and improve long-term sentences for drug trafficking convictions. It also aims to reduce the minimum sentence for burglaries. Now, the new measure, which is still being worked on, would get rid of penalties that were enacted as part of the war on drugs.
All right, well, I know as when you look nationwide, Oklahoma has a pretty high rate of incarceration. Where do we stack up?
So currently, Storm, we are actually at the second highest overall level of incarceration nationally. Our prisons are currently at 110% capacity, which means, we're 10% over. Also, we lead the nation in overall female incarceration.
Number 1 in the nation for female incarceration.
Yes.
Wow. And Will, I know that you said most of these bills have been around for a year. Why, now that legislators have acted?
So actually what happened was Governor Fallin called on change to happen, saying that we need to stop warehousing these moms, dads, sisters, and brothers for long prison sentences, especially when compared to other states in the region.
And the governor said that in her State of the State address this year as well.
Yeah, she did. So she's been going on it.
All right,
thank you, Will.
Well, Lauren, it's been a windy day outside.
It has, and there's been some wildfires in the region. Jenna's here with the weather.
That's right, guys. So these red splotches behind me are current fires burning in the state, and the gray splotches coming off, a few of them are smoke plumes. So you'll notice a few of these plumes are close to the metro in Norman. So if you're going to be outside or you plan to be outside, air quality conditions could drop if you're near any of these gray areas, or even any of these red areas could spark smoke as well. So a lot of conditions go into the fire weather today, one of them being wind. So it's really windy out right now, but I'll have all that and more coming up in Maine as I have fire conditions to cover. Watches and warnings are out currently, and we have fire relief on the way. So I'll have all that more coming up. Back to you guys at the desk.
All right, thanks for keeping an eye on that for us, Jenna. Nicole Nielsen is in the News Center with new information on U.S. relations with North Korea. Nicole?
That's right, Storm. Kim Jong-un is acting positively, according to President Trump. That could signal progress to ending the threats of a North Korean nuclear missile attack. The willingness of Kim follows years of refusal to talk and recent threats regarding United States national security. Though there is skepticism regarding Kim's ability to rewrite the fate of this atomic arsenal, Trump believes it's a start.
Hopefully we'll go in the very, very peaceful, beautiful path. We're prepared to go whichever path is necessary. I think we're having very good dialogue, and you're going to certainly find out pretty soon what's happening. But we have made progress. There's no question about it.
Leaders in Washington are hoping Kim's compliance will be the start of easing international tensions. And Nashville Mayor Megan Barry resigned today after pleading guilty to stealing the city's money as she carried on an affair with her bodyguard. Barry and her head of security have been sentenced to 3 years probation and have agreed to pay the city back over $55,000. And the United States Office of Special Counsel claims White House counselor Kellyanne Conway violated the Hatch Act twice last year. The act prohibits government officials from using their positions to influence political campaigns. The claims argue Conway attempted to sway the Alabama special election in advocacy for Republican Roy Moore. In response to the special counsel's office, the White House disputed the claims and Conway's involvement in the election's influence. And guys, the state of Maryland signed a new bill yesterday that requires presidential candidates to release their tax returns.
Thank you, Nicole. Well, one of the last known survivors of the 1921 Tulsa race riot has died at age 99. Hazel Smith Jones of Tulsa was not quite 3 years old when the riot happened in the neighborhood known as Black Wall Street. The 1921 Tulsa race riot Centennial Commission director says there are 2 known survivors still living, one in Chicago and the other in New York.
And still to come on OU Nightly, one well-known fast food chain is saying McBye to old ways.
Plus, Norman becomes the first city in Oklahoma to virtually end veteran homelessness. Stay with us.
The cable channel C-SPAN is in Norman this week, highlighting the city's history and nonfiction literary life for the network's nonfiction book program, Book TV, on C-SPAN 2. Shooting historic site started on Sunday. On Monday, video crews were focused on the history of political campaign ads in the Julian Cantor Archives Room in Burton Hall.
The city's history and its unique literary life. And so while we're here, we'll be producing anywhere from 5 to 6 different segments on the city's unique history.
The two-day cable program will also feature local authors, including OU Provost Kyle Harper, and visits to the National Weather Center and the Sam Noble Museum of Natural History. The program will air April 7th and 8th on C-SPAN 3. Locally, that's Cox Channel 128.
And just hours ago, a 3rd high magnitude earthquake shook Oklahoma. The U.S. Geological Survey reports a 4.1 magnitude earthquake near the town of Amarita, just 2 days after 2 4.2 magnitude quakes struck near Breckenridge. The Alfalfa County Emergency Management Director says there are no current reports of damage or injury. The series of earthquakes are the strongest in Oklahoma since September.
And a retail giant continues to raise its minimum wage.
Collin Kennedy joins us in Money Matters with more. Collin.
Thanks, Lauren. Target is increasing its minimum hourly pay up to $12 this spring. The move comes as a part of a plan to give the company a makeover. While the plan is driving customers to its stores and website, the overhaul paired with pay increases is extensive. It took some shine of a strong fourth quarter. However, the company still plans to increase its minimum pay to $15 by the end of 2020. Meanwhile, President Trump's steel tariff could wreck 2 motor companies' profits. Ford and General Motors could lose out on $1 billion per year. According to Goldman Sachs analysis, that's the hit each company could take if the tariff creates similar price increases. $1 billion is 12% of Ford's profits from last year and 7% of General Motors. And McDonald's decides to flip to fresh beef patties starting in May. The fast food giant will make all quarter pounders with fresh beef. The company says suppliers have invested around $60 million in order to update supply chains. This is a significant change according to people within McDonald's, as some are calling it the most significant since the launch of all-day breakfast. And I know what you're all wondering. Yes, the quarter pounders will not be frozen, but everything else on the menu still will be. So
That's to me, that's kind of strange. Like, first off, why did it take them this long to even switch anything to fresh?
I mean, if the biggest change besides this is putting floppy eggs on a biscuit all day long, I'm pretty worried about the company.
Ganging up on McDonald's, okay? Every once in a while, it's just nice to go get a Big Mac or something.
I like their breakfast food. I'm not gonna lie.
Well, you guys are alone on that one because I'm out.
Come on, Collin. All right. Well, fresh, never frozen.
Kind of.
It's their competitor.
For one thing.
All right. Thank you, Collin. And last week we told you about the Norman mayor announced that the city had essentially ended veteran homelessness. Tonight, OU Nightly's Matt Marks shows us how they did it.
Last week, the city of Norman and Cleveland County were recognized as the 62nd community nationwide and first in Oklahoma to have all the resources needed to provide housing for homeless veterans. Recognized by the U.S. Interagency Council, the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development, and the Department of Veterans Affairs, Norman has moved homeless veterans off the streets and into housing, whether that be apartments, duplexes, or houses. After years of progress, it is a joy to finally be able to reach that goal.
Oh, that is an awesome feeling. It's been an enormous challenge for our community, and a lot of work has happened over the last few years, but to finally reach the place that we've all been driving toward is awesome.
Since 2015, 45 homeless veterans have been placed in housing in the city of Norman and in Cleveland County, and that number will continue to rise due to the great work of many agencies around town. Matt Marks, OU Nightly.
And city officials say now that they have a handle on veteran homelessness, they'll begin working to address chronic youth and family homelessness.
Well, coming up in sports, Sooner Baseball has a tough test tonight at Eldale Mitchell Park.
And Jenna standing by with more weather. Jenna.
That's right, guys. What is it doing out there? I'll have all that more up in Maine coming up next. Welcome back to OU Nightly, guys. So this is a live look outside downtown Norman. It's a bit hazy right now, and that's because of the smoke off to our west. So currently, it will be a bit mild feeling out right now, but if you've been outside, it's super blustery out. Winds from the west-northwest, 28 miles per hour right now, and that doesn't include gusts. So our dew point's relatively low right now, 11 degrees. Look at that difference between 58 as our temperature and 11-degree dew point. It's definitely dry out there. So this is our fire danger report across the state. Most of the states in a critical, in the orange, the scarlet across most of the state, and the orange-ish yellow is the elevated fire weather across parts of the state, but we're mostly in a critical condition. So we talked about those conditions that go into fire weather. Relative humidity is one of them, and with that cold front that took off a lot of our moisture yesterday morning, it left us with not a lot of moisture in the area. So relatively humidity is fairly low across Oklahoma, except out here in northeastern Oklahoma, but the most of the state is seeing fairly low relative humidity. And this is dry across the state and consistently dry. So you'll notice extreme drought conditions to our west in Guyman and Amarillo. We were sitting at a moderate, a severe drought. Now we're in a moderate drought in Norman right now. So we have improved, but we could see more room for improvement as we continue. So we need more rain in the future. Now looking at the high resolution radar, we'll see a smoke plume kind of off to our west right now. It's fairly thick, so air quality conditions will worsen in the Oklahoma City and metro areas. And we also have another smoke plume off to the west of Bartlesville. So if you're going to be outside in either of these areas right now, it will be a bit hazy. Now we do have some active red flag warnings out for most of the state and some wind warnings as well. So this is just some reminders as we have fire conditions. So power equipment can cause sparks. Discard of any cigarette butts properly, and do not park your cars on grass. So really just be very cautious about that. Lows tonight, fairly just below freezing in most of the state. Day planner, we're looking fairly nice, but as we head out into the 7-day, we do have a chance for rain on Saturday. So hopefully that verifies we can get that rain, because we're in really bad drought conditions right now.
Yes, Jenna, I think that rain would be really nice for all of these wildfires that are happening.
Definitely, it definitely helped.
Well, thank you.
Thanks, Jenna.
Thanks. Well, one former Sooner set records yesterday at the NFL Combine. Josh Callaway is here with more on what happened in Indianapolis. Josh.
That's right, Lauren. A one-time star redeemed himself a bit at the Combine last night. We'll get into that, and we'll preview the Sooners' Big 12 tournament outlook as they head to Kansas City. Sports is next. Welcome back. Sooners basketball has had a very odd year that has seen the highest highs and the lowest lows. But through it all, they ended the regular season on Friday with a win over Iowa State and headed to the Big 12 tournament with a slight glimmer of momentum. Waiting in the first round will be Oklahoma State for Bedlam Round 3 tomorrow night in Kansas City. For more on the matchup, we go to Sam Brown. Sam?
Yeah, that's right, Josh. Trey and the boys have a must-win matchup against the Pokes tomorrow night. But last night, sophomores Cam McGusty and Christian Doolittle stopped by Sooner Sports Pad to talk about how they're prepping for postseason basketball.
Tonight from Baptist Collegiate Ministries here with tonight. They are very holy and very ready. Let's go. We also have OU Men's Little also in the house tonight. And later on in the show, Sports Pad. Come, guys. Thank you.
Now, we've seen many different versions of Trae Young this season. Most were unbelievable, but some not so much. The last time the Sooners and Cowboys squared off, Young dropped a career-high 48 points, but it took him 39 shots to do it, and OU lost. After being called selfish from critics across the country, he redeemed himself in the next game against Kansas, scoring 26 points on just 9 shots and leading OU to arguably their biggest win of the season. Again, last Friday, Young delivered with his back against the wall. He didn't shoot the ball particularly well, but had 6 assists and only 2 turnovers, and then led OU to a 21-point win over Iowa State. Now, the key to tomorrow's game is fairly simple. Let Trae Young feel this game out. If he's being covered tightly, he has the ability to get guys like Christian James and Cam McGusty some open shots. But if he's being given more space, that's where he can show off why he's one of the best shooters in the country and jack up some threes. That's it for me, Josh. Back to you.
Thanks, Sam. In other Sooner sports, women's golf got off to a hot start in the Hurricane Invitational in Miami. The Sooners had the lead on the 13-team field after being the only team in the opening round to shoot below par behind Riley Pettigo's team best 69. The second round was not as friendly for the Sooners, however, as they now trail host Miami by 3 strokes, with the final round being tomorrow. Coming off a great weekend that saw them take 2 of 3 from previously undefeated Alabama, OU baseball is back in action tonight at L. Dale Mitchell Park against number 25 Dallas Baptist. The Sooners will be looking for revenge after taking the loss to DBU last Tuesday night, 5-2. Nathan Wiles will be on the bump for Oklahoma, who did pitch well against the Patriots last week, giving up just 1 run in 5 2/3 innings. At the NFL Combine, Jordan Thomas had a rough senior season, but a great showing yesterday. Thomas set the 3-cone record, completing the drill in a lightning-fast 6.28 seconds. We'll find out just how much that improved his struggling stock in next month's NFL Draft. And lastly, sticking at the Combine, NFL Network host Rich Eisen tried his hand at the 40-yard dash with some pretty interesting results. Eisen ran a 5.97, which isn't great, but considering that Orlando Brown ran a 5.85 and is a projected NFL draft pick, with Eisen being a 48-year-old in a suit, maybe it really wasn't that bad at all. Guys, rough week for Orlando Brown. He had a guy who's almost 50 in a suit nearly outrun him.
That was embarrassing. I saw that on Twitter, and literally that was my first thought. I was like, Orlando Brown is going into the
And to make matters worse, the NFL commissioner,
I
Roger
saw that
Goodell,
one.
who's almost 60, he did beat Orlando Brown badly. He ran a 5.4.
In an office cubicle.
Yeah.
Exactly. In work clothes. It's awesome.
Exactly.
Right. Thanks, Sam. And so to come on OU Nightly, it's a special day for America's favorite cookie. Stay with us.
I'm Cheyenne Plummer at the Update Desk. Breaking news just minutes ago, Gary Cohn, President Trump's top economic advisor, is planning to resign. President Trump called him a rare talent and thanked him for his service. It is unclear why the advisor resigned, but it comes after disagreements among administration about metal tariffs. Be sure to follow us on Twitter for updates on this story as it develops. That's it for now. Lauren?
Well, thank you, Cheyenne. Fans of Milk's favorite cookie today have a reason to celebrate. It is National Oreo Day. Whether you split them or dunk them, Americans have been enjoying the chocolate sandwich cookie since its invention in 1912. More than 500 billion Oreos have been sold to date, making it America's best-selling cookie.
All right, I know Oreos. I love Oreos. I'm a dunker.
No.
Glass of cold milk.
I'm a splitter. You have to split. Except I'm more of a double stuff.
I'm more of a Chips Ahoy girl myself.
Chips Ahoy.
Really?
Wow.
Do you like the chewy Chips Ahoy or the regular?
The chewy, of course.
Okay.
You can't dunk a Chips Ahoy, can you?
You can. I dunk in the milk all the time.
I don't know about that.
That's right. Well, Jenna, what do you have for us for the fact of the day?
Well, we have a picture from the National Weather Center observation deck right now. If you look really closely, you can see some smoke off to the west. This is taken by viewer Tyler Pardun. So you can see the smoke plume that I was hinting at earlier in this photo pretty well.
Well, thank you, Jenna.
We're glad for some rain this weekend to help tamp some of that down, hopefully.
Definitely.
All right, thank you, and thanks for watching OU Nightly, brought to you by Gaylord College at the University of Oklahoma.
We'll see you back here tomorrow night live at 4:30.
Good night.